Hi there, hi there. It is the first Friday of the month and it is May. How it is May, I don't know. It is both the weirdest combination of very, very slow and very, very fast time right now. But it is still May and it is the first Friday, so I'm coming live today. My name is Trisha Broderick and I'm with Ignite Insight and Innovation. And I still can't get live LinkedIn to approve. So this is going live on YouTube, onto Facebook. I will be posting the recording later on LinkedIn for other people, but I'm making do with what I got. So I'll keep trying, but hopefully the program comes out of beta at some point and we can actually do this live and I can possibly be able to engage a little bit with different people that are out there as it's coming in, but we will see. We will see. So today's topic that we're going to do a little intro, few top tips on is just speaking. Now I'm going to focus this one a little bit more on speaking virtually, although I'll throw a couple things in there for in person as well. Clearly there's a lot when it comes to speaking and a lot of techniques and a lot of tips. I'm going to focus on just a couple of my favorite ones, or at least ones that I maybe have to say frequently to people. And then sprinkle in some other things and point you to more resources and options to learn more at the end. Okay, so speaking. First of all, I've been told, because I don't have this, but I've been told that fears of public speaking are up there with like death and change and probably snakes and spiders or stuff. I don't get nervous to speak in front of people. I do get nervous with the snakes and spiders and all sorts of other things, but public speaking's never been something that I get super nervous about while I'm up there. I get a lot of adrenaline because I get excited, but I don't get necessarily like super nervous or anxious about it. That said, there's a few things that I've watched as I've tried to help other people and myself get better at public speaking that I've seen over and over again. And one is this, okay? And I even have to like readjust, right? But it's this kind of speaking where people are talking and then they're going to speak like this. And I'm just going to make sure that I read from my sheet and I'm going to make sure that I say every single word that is written. And if I lose track of it, the really good intent behind that is people want to say the right things. They want to look professional. They want to make sure they don't forget anything. But the problem is having this little piece of paper in front of you. I once worked with somebody and the first time he presented, he did this. The second time he presented, he did this. The third time he presented is down here. And then the fourth time he let go of the paper. But it's a comfort for us as a speaker. Like, what if I forget something? What if I don't remember to say something? What if I say it slightly wrong or I could have said it better? The interesting thing that I've experienced is just being real, being authentic, just delivering it and saying it with like passion is way more important than that perfect sentence structure or that perfect delivery or in every point that you make. But Trisha, what if I forget something? Well, if it's super important, you're going to remember it later and you can fill it back in. But holding on to the paper causes a disconnect, even virtually, whether you're in person or virtually. It causes this disconnect and it just doesn't, it actually makes me usually question if the person knows it as well. If they need this so desperately, like, do they know what they're talking about? Do they understand? Should I be listening to them? And it actually kind of has an opposite effect for me as an attendee or as a listener as I'm going in. So it's really scary for a lot of people to go, but, and I'm not saying have no notes. I mean, even today, I have some notes that I'm using and things, but they're like one word. And then I just riff with it. I kind of use a box of time that I'm going to do. And then I speak to that in this. The other dynamic is when you're really far back. I mean, yes, you can see more of me and everything. You can see my nice little jacket, although it's now mirrored. So I grabbed the wrong side of myself, right? But there's a dynamic of if you stand right behind in person, like behind a podium, and you lock yourself behind that podium, or you stand really far back from the camera, it can have some benefits in some ways, but the reality is, again, you're just creating kind of a barrier between people and you. Now that barrier could feel safe a little bit, but it's not going to help you really have some impactful delivery of what you're trying to share with people. The other thing that I see so often, especially virtually when it is even if they get rid of the paper, right? They're talking like this to the screen and doing this. Now this bothers me because I'm like, oh, can they see all my grays? Like it even bothers me like just like this. But right, talking to this monitor while they look at this one. I actually, at the very beginning, I put like a little post-it note right up next to my camera, right up to where I'm like, okay, where do I have to look? Where do I need to see? Is it awkward to like stare at a little green dot? Sure. But it's way different than staring like this and looking at the people on the screen. And then you're like, it's just harder to connect with that speaker. It's harder to not be distracted by other things that they're doing or noticing about them, like their gray hair, than to just listen to their words and what they're highlighting with it. So anytime that you can kind of drop any of those unnecessary barriers, you're going to have a more impactful speaking situation. You're going to actually have a more connection with the people, even online, that you're sharing. For me, it creeps me out. Like even right now, I am speaking to nobody. It's uncomfortable. I don't like it. But the more that I know that I look at that green or in that area of my camera is way better than looking this way or looking that way, having something up in front of me. It's just, you want to almost say like, I'm here, and demonstrate that in that little box of that window. Or if you're in that room, I am here, I'm with you. The second one that I kind of want to highlight, and honestly, I never in my life thought I was actually going to ever have to coach myself about this, but is the amount of energy you have. So I'm high energy. I'm extroverted. I hate being in these four walls. And I hate not having people to play off of and the energy that's in the room. So virtually, I've even had to increase my energy because I don't have people to play off of, because I can't hear that laughter when I mock my gray hair, because I can't hear this, other thing that's going on, or the aha somebody might have. I have to almost envision it in my head. And so it means not standing here like this and talking in a monotone voice and making sure that you're staying very professional because this is the way that we're taught to engage. No, I've got to bring extra energy. That might mean hand motions. That might moving around a little bit. Now, don't make people sick. You do not want to be like, well, dancing might be cool. I mean, you could give it a shot, see what happens, right? But like, you don't want to do too much because it can be distracting, but nothing makes it very monotone to where people will start to tune out. They cannot handle it. Go ahead and laugh at your own joke. Hopefully other people are laughing with you. And if they're not, sometimes your laughter causes them to laugh. So even if no one thought you were funny, laughing at yourself and laughing with it, smiling as you're doing it, might make them smile a little bit, might make them laugh a little bit. And I do have to acknowledge that virtually, I am way more tired at the end of the day of like training course or a meeting, because I am finding that I'm upping my energy to a point that sometimes I think this is over the top. Like this has got to be obnoxious to people. And maybe it is to a few. But for the most part, it just keeps people engaged. It keeps people present. It keeps people willing to listen and hear what you're trying to share, which is the whole point of speaking, is that you're trying to transfer knowledge or trying to inspire or motivate or educate, whatever it might be. If you don't keep them with you, it won't be very effective. So you really want to make sure you have that energy high. Take those breaks for yourself, especially even virtually online. Have water nearby you. Although I will caution the water thing, because I once told somebody have water nearby, and I didn't think about the like adrenaline of shakes. And that poor person picked their water up, started shaking, and then like water started going everywhere. So if you're that nervous, don't touch the water. But if you're okay, like you find something in your throat a little bit, take a sip of water. It's totally fine, right? It's not a big deal. But keep that energy up, keep the dynamic in there, to the point that it might even feel a little over the top. But it's necessary because we're all stuck in these Zoom windows every day right now, or whichever tool you want to use. I don't care. But we're stuck in them. And actually, technically, I'm not even using Zoom right now. I'm using StreamYard. See, should have even acknowledged that. But it gets mundane. So we want somebody that's popping. We want somebody that's energetic, that we don't, stuck and locked in and not moving, or worse, you just see like their forehead, right? Or things along those lines. So really think about your spacing, think about where your camera is, think about your own energy level. Even if you're feeling rough, it's been a long day, if you're speaking, they need to feel that energy coming from you, that you're excited, that it's authentic to you, that you're passionate about it, because it will be what helps make it impactful. And then the last tip I want to give you is I think sometimes it seems scarier virtually because it could be recorded. Like this is recorded. What if somebody takes this and like highlights every gray hair on my head, right? What if somebody takes this and just takes a clip and takes something I said out of context and whatnot? And those risks are there, but honestly, those risks are there when you're in person as well. They are. But I've never worried so much about those dynamics because, again, if I'm sharing something, if I'm choosing a topic to speak on that I'm passionate about, that I care about, that I think is valuable, that I wish I had known earlier, or even better, that I'm vulnerable about, like admitting something that I might not be doing so well that maybe somebody else can't. So far, in my experience, most people have taken that for the good that it's intended for and not weaponized it, not been malicious about it. Sure, I could do lots of different things. I probably should wear, maybe I should have worn a sweater today. Maybe my one earring, you can only see my one earring. You can always judge things on yourself when you're speaking or doing stuff. And I say try to let that go as much as you can. It's hard. And I'm not going to pretend that I don't think about those things. I've thought about which heels I wanted to wear when I did my first keynote, right? Like, absolutely, you're going to think about those things. But what I want you to think even more about is what is the message you're trying to speak on? A colleague of mine, Jake Calabrese, and I often say, what's the thing I want to rant about? Because that's probably what my next session is going to be about, my next conference, my next speaking thing. Because the more authentic, more passionate, more raw, more honest you are in whatever you're sharing, the more impactful it is. So personally, for me, I like telling a lot of stories. I like making it personal. I like making it vulnerable. I like highlighting bad things that I've done. And so I'll do one right now, right? But Trisha, what if I mess up? Like, what if it's horrible and something goes wrong? I was in front of 2,500 people and I wasn't using my clicker, my rotating clicker of the deck. And basically the computer had crashed behind the scene. It was this massive thing. I was opening an event, Agile 2017. And they had it set up so that there was two computers. So one computer and then a backup computer in case one computer went down, which it did. But the problem is while I was talking, I'm furiously clicking away on that thing, trying to get it to move, thinking I'm just using the clicker wrong, not acknowledging this at all in front of anybody, right? Just clicking and click and click. Well, the backup computer came up and now I'm at the end of the slide deck. Which is not where I'm supposed to be. I'm trying to just get to the second slide. And so there was nothing left. I'm standing up in front of everybody. I just basically say, can you please reset the PowerPoint deck? And then I proceed to do the only thing that I could do in that moment and what is called the failure bow. And I literally just stood up and went, I have failed. Bowed. And people started clapping because a number of people in that audience knew about the failure bow. I cannot tell you how many people approached me about nothing else I had said up there, but about that failure bow, about the fact that they still use it in their organization now. And I get messages from people that it helped them to kind of let it go. But honestly, that mistake made more people connect with me in that moment. So when we're thinking about speaking, let go of that, like, this is what proper and professional looks like. Not everybody's trying to be a TED Talk speaker right out of the gate. And even then, some of my favorite TED Talk, sure, there are techniques and tips and how to tell a story. And I'll point you to other things about this as we go forward. But at the end of the day, people know when you're being you up there. People know when you care about what you're sharing. And if it's valuable, it will be impactful. So take those kind of couple little tips. I hope they're in spirit. Hope they're helpful with you. If you're looking for more, I do a class on impactful training and speaking. My next one is not for a little bit because I just did it. What I have upcoming is what do I have upcoming? See, I have failed. I didn't even write this stuff down. I never do because I'm a horrible marketing person. But I have a CSM coming up. I have a microaggressions workshop. I have a approaching conflict workshop. And and I'm doing a free intro to Agile for project managers because I attended something that just hurt my soul. So this is my way of putting a little bit good out in the world. And then, and I have a Leading Amazing Teams with Jake coming up in June as well. So I'll put my site overall for things that are coming up. But in general, I just want people out there speaking more because your stories, your experience, your knowledge, we could all benefit from it. So enjoy and have a good day. Happy May.